Gavin from Spine Road. He's one of our first students who started 5 years ago. Not a student. Spine View.
At first, when Bruce asked me this, I thought to myself, hey, are you not going to put yourself into something over here that you're going to regret? And I thought about it after a while, and I said, you know what? Sometimes you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. That's what we are all about, really. So, yeah, here we go. I am the principal of Spineview Primary School, and just in case any of you have read the whole advertisement, there is no Hewitt Training College of which I'm a principal of. It does not exist. There's just a little glitch. Let's just say it that way. Otherwise, I'll have a lady that'll throw a pot or a pan at me. It's a glitch in the system. My views are my views that I would like to give to you. They are not the views. I'm very respectfully aware that there are people in this community standing in front of me that have so much more than what I have. But for me, I'm just going to be selfish and say what my little world has been so far. So Spineview Primary School is in Rocklands, Mitchell's Plain. There are some challenges. They shoot a little bit in the area. And the learners will sometimes go see what the action is about. It's an environment that I had to get used to in the beginning, you know. I'm not used to going to see why people are shooting. I'll go the other way. But that's sort of the environment. But they are beautiful children. They come from, the majority of them will come from respectful homes. And the parents, they want the best for their children. So I started with this also, and I need to start with the same context that all of us have, this frustrations of principalship, some of the things, and I'm doing something, and you can't see what I'm doing over here. So I need to go back quickly. I didn't do that. Bad teacher. So we'll start up over there, and just to fast forward a little bit of some of the issues that we all know of. And as I'm on this route of my principalship in 2011, yes, I'm only 21 right now, so I walked into the school, and I'm acutely worrying about transport issues at school. You know, the kids come at 10 o'clock, and it's like, what's the problem? I'm not used to that. The teacher tensions, I come from a school that the principalship and the deputyship and the HODship was all in a bit of a mix and was going nowhere. And there was a whole Hollywood that was going of acting. And so, and that created so much tension that it boiled to the children. So you walk into an environment and you quite frankly don't know where to start. I will admit that there were some things that I've learned from my previous school that I knew I will take to my new school that came from myself. And one of the things that I have learned at the previous school, that we used to have discussions about problems in the morning, and they would go past 8 o'clock. And that 1 or 2 problems that you had, if you had 900 learners, now became 902 problems just because you went past that 8 o'clock time. So that one little thing I did not allow at all the school, and I stood like firm on that thing. But there were other things that simply just kept me second guessing as to whether I'm on the right path with all of this. Because when you walk to the staff room and you are new, they're all sussing you out all the time. You know, so you live in a world of a very lonely world, because you looking at people and they looking at you, and the water's being tested all the time. And so when you go, you find yourself frustrated. You take your frustrations home to your family, and the poor IMG bear the brunt of everything, and you quickly find yourself in a little bit of a spiral moment. The WCED, well, we all know, they come in and they assume things. They assume a lot of things. They don't really have a mentorship program in place. They don't allow for mistakes, and mistakes. If you build anything like me, but it works on you like crazy. That one mistake you made, people forgot it already. But 3 weeks later, you still prodding your mind for that one mistake over there. But nobody came to you and said to you, okay, you know what, you're on the right path over here. We know about the CTLI program. There are benefits to it, but it's questionable. I'll leave it at that for your thoughts to ponder. We know that they do assist through superior, but like the magnitude of the job is so enormous, you do find yourself overawed with all the problems. Then came the Principals Academy. Uncle Bruce over here, I say Uncle Bruce, it just makes it seem a lot more friendlier. It's not because he's older, no. I was approached and I thought to myself, you know what, I'm good on that, let's go for it. I might have another thought in my mind, but I went along with it. And it started about in December, that was in 2012. We were called out. And the first little hurdle hit me. But this is my holiday, man. You know, I just finished an entire year. For the very first time of my life, I finished as a principal. I thought, let me go home and just lay there for a while, you know. And here I found myself walking into the GSB, UCT. Thank goodness it was at the waterfront, because I love that environment. I love nature. So, you know, that was the things that kind of helped me. And that was the first thing I thought, okay, holiday time, but let's take a step forward. And then they gave me this book over here, and I thought to myself, there's your second problem. We haven't even walked into the venue yet, and you got this thick thingy to have a look at already. So your mind kind of plays tricks with you and that type of thing. And we got introduced to topics like critical thinking. I knew they were around, but yeah, what are you talking about? Critical, you know, systems thinking, you know. I had some systems and personal mastery. There were thoughts that were playing around in my mind, and I could have, if you asked me, I could have maybe given you the correct answer, but not something as deep as what we needed to be. So, I met a few people at the GSB. There's one character over there in the form of Mr. Kannemeyer. We are still good buddies. All these people that is over here, I spent time with them, many late nights, many frustrations, but we started it off, and some of us are still together today. The one thing that challenged us hugely was group dynamics, and I learned something about myself in that whole fraternity of this group, because you want to have your say because your say is right, you know, and everybody's say was right. And that became one of our first hurdles and our first learning curves also in social cohesion or in group dynamics. We're going to step back with latecomers. They're going to pay a fine. I sort of rerouted over here back to the first table because I also did forget to show you a short little clip, because when I was frustrated over there, I felt something similar like this. And many of you would have seen it before, but make like you didn't see it also. I'll feel a lot better. So with that in mind, and with that skilling starting to develop while I was at the GSB, I found myself yes, reading a little bit, you know, and spending some actual time trying to grapple with academic rigor of what I need to go to and what I need to learn. We followed some routes over there in terms of systemic thinking, building rich pictures, brainstorming, clustering, developing CLDs. And I just want to pass very quickly through to them because we're not here to give lessons really. Just to give you an insight into how we looked at things, perhaps fixing things in a very systemic manner. And while I'm on this journey over here, these are some of the skills that we've developed after it. And somewhere along the way, the penny drops with me. That wasn't a penny. I think it was a little bit bigger. It fell really hard, and I thought everybody could hear it. Because I've realized that in organizations, we are typically like our bodies. Our body is an organ, and we are the principals of that organ. We are the managers of that organ. Some of us do a good job, and some of us don't do a good job. And each organ relies on another set of organs. And I'll read it off for there because to me it's very relative. Systems of organs that work together. The body has levels of organization that build on each other. Cells make up tissues, tissues make up organs, and organs make up organ systems. And that relates also to an organization of any sorts. We think that our pinky or our small toe is very little relation to our body, but let that small toe get hurt. Then you will know how much that small toe needs to be. And there are very, very, very rich issues of our bodies that we need to understand, the way we eat our comfort foods and all those things. There's a consequence for these things, and we've got to learn to be better managers. But I'm not here to give a body talk. And it says, what I've delved out of it, it says, for organizational success depends on individual and personal growth of each person within an organization. It's not only just one person, each person within an organization. Now, if you were a principal, like me, for example, I'll think about that young lady that's late all the time. Yeah, you need to listen to this topic here. So we focus on the wrong things, and what I've realized is it actually should be pointing back at me. That's where you need to start. That's where you can fix. That's where you can make some adjustments. Along the penny drop also, I've critically understood through one of the speakers over there, they mentioned the fact that if we were alone in this world, then everything you do is right. It actually doesn't matter what you do, But as soon as you stand next to somebody and you want to be with that person, you got to give a little bit of yourself. And so you go into your family, you have to do the same. And so you have to do it in a school. There are all different forms of organizations. And you cannot just be yourself. You have to give a little bit. Failing to do that creates a little bit of instability. We build up a set of data in our lives. And that data could come from the relative thinking of a rugby referee. A rugby referee takes up to 10,000 decisions in 2 hours. Now that's the data probability that you are getting. 10,000 decisions in 2 hours, and that's the way we live our lives. Every 2 hours you're making decisions. And by the time you're 10 years old, you and the next person are so far removed from each other that you find it very difficult to find some commonalities. And that data that you build up after every 2 hours adds up. And by the time you are 20 years old, going into school teaching, that data is different. So when you have an argument, when there's conflict, you think that person is selecting the same data as you. You are upset for this person, and you collected your data from your instances, and you think that person understands why you're upset, and that person looks at you and you don't understand, because it's just a selection of different data, of different learning curves of the way our lives have led differently. And that mere little topic, and I don't know if I'm explaining it properly, is the essence in me not getting too upset with anybody really. I try my best, but here with anybody, especially the children, because the children's set of data and information and decision making that they've built in their lives are so far remotely different to yours. How dare you get angry with them? The only way that you can do something is to dig a little bit deeper to figure out how to change or influence their set of data to match your set of data so that the two of you can meet, and then you will realize how to fix conflict. I've also had to realize that you are not on your own. You cannot do this on your own. You know, you need people and you need to follow people. And my deputy, he's not here today. He had some issues left behind over there. And I praise him because he was my first follower, or I was his first follower. I'm still trying to figure that out. Because jointly we were able to make a movement, to start a movement on our premises, which started the influence of change. And that's what I needed. I needed that initiator, that little light, the spark that made everything move. And because I don't want to talk to you too much also, I'd like to just refer to a video. And I'm sure you've seen it already, but once again, just amuse me and enjoy the clip. Because quite frankly, I look at it and I try and come up with more little meanings also. So we do understand that everything comes to us as an event level, and then we tend to fix things as they happen over there. I think that in terms of structural or systems thinking, we have to try and zone into areas where we can make that support change. And that is right at the bottom in where the structure is sitting within the schools. In terms of our school over there, in terms of what we've tried to do, we explain to teachers that we don't live only in the academic world. We live in a very social yield environment also. So our learners come to us and they first have to be socially we first have to achieve social cohesion before we can actually have that platform for learning to take place. So I tell them, and I use the names, I say, hey, it's just any names. There's Zuma, Gavin, and Zaida. They are 3 teachers. A learner will go through 20 teachers. And if you've got something good about you, I want that child to attach himself to something good about you. I may not be able to affect the child's family at home, but they can get something good out of you. And when they reference their primary school, they will think about you. So I want the child to go through a few years of what exactly, who the teacher is, learn something from them, and not only get the academic side of it, but also the social cohesion side of it, the morals, the ethics, and those things that are important to us. When I ended up with a question, how to engage new kids on the block, new teachers at the school, the school also used the platform of systems thinking, and we ended up with this little thing over here. And what it basically means, it gives us an opportunity to look at various facets of what we need to do and how to make small wins in that regard. And I'm pleased to say that while we have all the frustrations like you have also, there's a lot of movement that we've created, and it's very, very, very thankful through the GSB. For the input and the guidance, because it doesn't only help me within my school, but it's helped me also as a person within my home and my family. So my motto is, I will, I try, I can, I do. And I'd like to end off with a journey talk. You know, our journey has a beginning and an end. What we do in between may decide the futures of many. So I'll do the best I can while I can. And thanks very much for listening to me, people.